Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Black Thor, Icewater, and yours truly, Puma. This is one of three shows. We have the NFL picks, week 4 coming up next, and also the fight game with Icewater and Puma. And I have to apologize before we even go into the NFL picks next show that I'm sorry. We've been disappointing all you fans. I thought last week was the worst we could do. No, we've done worse. Pop held steady, but everybody else, we did worse. We apologize. The NFL is crazy. But we want to go into the first story with the former Boston coach, allegedly former Boston coach of the Celtics. One of the things that I know we've been hearing stories flying around. It's getting real bad. I want to go into that. But first, Black, I want to go into how is this going to affect the Celtics? Because you know they had the photo shoots last week or this early week, part of the week, and they've been asking them about, the coaching, things of that sort. Were they aware of this going on? How will this affect this team who just made it to the finals last year?
That's a good question, man, because when this story first broke last week, no one talked about how it's going to affect the players. It wasn't until media day that I think we all stopped and started thinking about it. And I think, can't think of his name right now, the guy that supposed to be enforcing the team was like, he said it hurts like hell. I'll be paraphrasing, but you think about what that coach did with that team in the span of the season. And I know they bought in. So how is that going to replace? You come back, you want the same room, the same continuity, and the same chemistry. And I don't think it's going to be there. And I think Boston may have did a disservice too, because a lot of these players are saying they found out about this through the media.
Wow.
Yeah, the ownership, coaching, not coaching, general managers, no one's saying anything about them. So it's like, now you're feeling like the team don't necessarily respect you in a sense to basically let you know there's going to be a change. Now, granted, management can do whatever they want, but I think they should have kind of keyed in. If you talk to a couple who might be perceived to be the leaders of the team, you should have said something so they wouldn't have been blindsided. So I think it's going to take a while for them starting the season to kind of really mesh and groove. And, we like to think of men as being strong, hard, but a lot of times these cats are fragile, bro. We know a lot of them are fragile. So I think it's going to take a while. I think it's going to take a little while. I think it's going to have an impact. I think at some point they might get their groove back and get it rolling. But yeah, I think for the first 25 games or maybe more, and it's where they're going to be kind of not going to have that same coach. I know they got a guy to replace him, but it's going to take a while for him to learn him to learn them. So yeah, it's going to be an impact that definitely come out on the basketball court.
When I look at this team and what the coach did last season with this particular team, because they didn't start off really well. And then all of a sudden they started to build the chemistry. They started to play more together. One of the things that I kind of looked at was, this is going to mess up their continuity. And even though they have a coach that was on staff, he's not going to make the same decisions. He's not going to do the same things. So how will this affect the Boston Celtics going forward?
I think they're a solid team. You look at them on paper, you go, wow, okay, they're good. They play hard defense at times when they can. The finals was a little different because there were mismatches, right? And that's what you see in the finals and the playoffs, where you see mismatches and then they're exposed, and that's how teams win. But overall, the way that they played defense, they were very physical, which is why they were able to do what they did to Brooklyn. Moving forward with Milwaukee, they played very physical basketball. I think it's going to be somewhat devastating, and I tell you why. When I say devastating, I don't mean that Boston's not going to make the playoffs. I'm not going that far. When I mean devastating as to what their full potential could be. The coach in question, or the one that's going to be on suspension, he was able to push the right buttons at the right time, right? Because they went and got White from San Antonio, and nobody really saw him having the impact that he did for that team. Nobody really expected the big fella Williams to come along like he did. There were certain buttons he pushed, guys will raise up and step up into that level of play prior to the finals, and they almost got it done in the finals, where you're like, how the hell, what is he doing? And you didn't always need the Tatums, right? You didn't need the stars, right? You didn't need the stars. You didn't need Brown. So I think it's going to be devastating from that standpoint. Also, too, I think you're going to find out that, Black Thor mentioned it before, and you mentioned before about to have a team recover from something like this takes a lot of maturity. And we don't know if the players are capable of doing that. That's where that coach came in. He was like, all right, the leading scorer, you struggling a little bit. Don't worry about it. We're going to pick you up, have somebody to pick them up. And I'm not sure if this new coach has that rapport with those guys. You got new guys coming in like Malcolm Brogdon from Indiana that's supposed to be doing some things. I think they picked up was a Gallinari that's going to be hurt for a while.
Right.
The other part too, Robert Williams, the big fella, gets hurt. It's going to be so. It's going to be a lot of moving pieces, and this is where your veterans would step up, right, and kind of carry the coach along until they get rolling. But I'm not sure. I'm not saying they won't go past the second round, but and they've been there before. They get lax. And I said this too. When you full, you don't play like you hungry anymore. So I think it's going to be devastating from the standpoint of what they possibly could have done overall. And other teams have made moves too. So you had your little run, and I don't know, man. They're going to have to figure that out because they're even though they're young. I say this lastly, their timetable is the clock is ticking.
Yeah, there's some alleged stories going on with this. The allegedly, I think the husband of I read the husband of the woman he was involved with found out, told the Boston Celtics allegedly. We have to say that so we don't get sued. Black, what have you heard about the story allegedly? What's going on in this particular situation?
One thing I heard that was kind of interesting was that part of the reason why this kind of came to the surface is that the woman is pregnant. And I guess because basically what they said was, even Boston said initially that he made unwanted comments to her. And what's being alleged is that, she's pregnant and, I guess he was trying to get her to do something with the pregnancy. And that's how that kind of basically hit the fan. So that's what's kind of quietly starting to circle around here and kind of get out there. And she says to me, a lot of things popping off, but it's a mess, bro. You look at, that organization, what it's going to basically do from this season, his career. And I said this last week, I don't think he's going to walk the sideline of Boston Celtics again.
I don't even think the NBA, bro.
Yeah, it's a possibility, especially if she's pregnant, bro. That right there, you just kind of you can just kind of walk away and just keep going.
Ice,
have you heard any alleged stories about this?
Well, I want to dive a little deeper. You mentioned about it might have been the husband with those alleged rumors. But the one thing that I found very interesting, if it was the husband, that the way that the husband found out. And they're saying the way that the husband found out is the fact that he overheard his wife on their home video camera having a conversation with old boy. And he went through the tapes, and that's how he found out through this conversation that she was messing around with old boy. Yeah, home video where, the little security camera. So he must have been checking it, and then she didn't probably realize she was on camera or forgot, and she was having a conversation with the coach. And then that's how the husband found out. So, wow. That's the truth.
This is getting messier and messier. And I haven't heard anything from Nia Long about this. I think they have a child together.
They do. They do a son.
Yeah. And this must be really, really bad and embarrassing. I know people have been putting memes and all that other stuff, but you're talking about somebody's father, somebody's mother, the other family. This is a big, big, big mess. Let's go to college football. And one of the things that I'm really excited about this week in watching, because the games were really good last week, but North Carolina State and Clemson. So Clemson, when they got it, they've been in the ACC forever, really never had anybody in the ACC that could really kind of challenge them. But I think this year with the number 10th ranked NC State Wolfpack, I think they may have a chance. Let's go through the top 10. Georgia's still holding on to number 1, followed by Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, number 5, USC, number 6, Kentucky, number 7. They move up from number 8 last week. Tennessee, who beat Florida last week, move up 3 spots to the number 8 spot. Oklahoma State, who they play Baylor at Baylor this week. They're number 9, and NC State is number 10. I got to give some love to, I know Ice is going to get me on this, Penn State number 11, inching up 3 spots, and Utah number 12, Oregon number 13. Even though they got blown out the first game, they're number 13. But the game, Black, you might want to watch out for is Ole Miss, number 14 versus Kentucky. That's going to be a great game. Let me go to Ice first on this. What are some of the games you're going to be watching out for this weekend? And what did you see a little bit last week that kind of forecast what you're going to see for the rest of the season?
I'm gonna jump out with the other one, the latter first. When it comes to college football, man, anything is possible. You saw how certain teams struggled, right? And you saw Oklahoma, right? Take that L. You saw how USC had to really struggle. Michigan is very high. You saw where Michigan barely got by Maryland. So there are a lot of these so-called teams that are below the radar are banging, and you just don't know. So I think it's going to be a lot more intriguing, a lot more competitive, because everybody waiting for the great Alabama to take off, right? And now you're like, maybe the quarterback Young doesn't have the receivers that he had last year. So it's a lot of questions, and maybe the defense may not be the same. But I think it's going to be interesting because even teams are like, we're not laying down. You saw Notre Dame fighting for their life. Notre Dame said, hell, we can't even keep losing because our coach will get fired real quick. So they finding ways to win. But looking at some of the other games, I think are going to be very interesting. You mentioned about, I knew you were going to say this, Kentucky, your favorite team, Kentucky versus Ole Miss, definitely going to be a great game. Michigan State at Maryland. And a lot of people go, why? Well, Michigan State has lost a lot of games, right? And they had a lot of hype coming into this season. And Maryland's on the cusp. They were right there with Michigan at the end. And I'm not saying nobody's job is on the line, but the ball coach up in Michigan State might want to be very careful because there's a lot of high expectations this year, and they lost a lot of games. They lost a lot of games before, and they keep losing, and then they're going to tolerate it in Lansing. Also, too, I got to say, Alabama versus Arkansas. I've been waiting on this.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
Arkansas is a very good team. I've been waiting on this and getting punched in the mouth. And the last game I'll say is just to kind of see. There was a lot of expectations on Texas, but they are playing at home to West Virginia. West Virginia is a very deceptive team. They can score a lot of points. If you're not careful, because I know the Texas quarterback is still out, you're playing with a second-string quarterback, West Virginia might get you.
Yeah. Black, college football, man. I know you probably checked out 1 or 2 games or some scores last week.
Yeah, I had the chance to kind of feature and zoom on Michigan and Maryland. And Ice is right. Maryland is coming. Maryland's definitely coming. I'm looking at if they didn't fumble, I think it was the initial kickoff, that game might have been totally different, bro. May have been totally different. They're coming. I'm not sure about Michigan now. I look at them, and I agree with Ice with this. With some of these schools that are ranked kind of high, Michigan, USC, some other schools, I wouldn't be surprised the next few weeks you see them kind of start to go down and kind of drop down because they might be overrated. And where parity now is in college football, some names that we may not be focusing on, they might slide into their spots. And you kind of reiterate what I said last week, man. It's going to be a little while before that brother and Notre Dame might get yeah, hope for that. But I watched them play a little bit. I'm not going to say Notre Dame's a strong, dominant team with the players that they have right now. But I think if they're patient with him, allow him to recruit and do some things, it's going to take that with Notre Dame. I mean, you can't expect them to come in and basically you be in the top 4 because Notre Dame, even when the prior coach was there, they deserved to be in the top 4, whatever it is in the top 10, half the time they was there. But if you allow him to basically grow with his recruits, I think he can have something special in the long run.
Yeah, the another team I failed to mention is Florida State. They're looking really good. They're 4-0. They jumped into the top 25 at 23. They're going to be playing Wake Forest, where they are heavily favored against Wake Forest. Wake Forest used to make some noise in ACC, but not anymore. And there was some rumors going around. I hate these rumors. Georgia Tech, they fired their coach, And the first person that came out their mouth is Deon Sanders. And I'm like, leave him alone. Let him do what he's doing in the HBCUs. But that's how they develop stories now. They just throw out a rumor and then they run with it. But I love what Mike Wilbon said on Pardon the Interruption. He's like, he's not going anywhere. Leave him alone. You know, he doesn't need Georgia Tech. So I like that. I like that response. Any feedback from that response, fellas?
You still watching Mike Wilbon? Oh, grumpy Mike. Yeah, I mean, Deon's name is the name now to catch me out. They're going to be definitely throwing out. I don't think he's going anywhere either. It's just sad that, you know, they want to run to him and don't do honest reporting of kind of put some at their possibly could step into that job. But, I mean, if he ever steps into leaving that, you know, the HBU, then get a strong one. Georgia Tech is not in. Don't go in a situation where they're going to put you into where you're going to be like you're a year and a half. No. But he's going to do more work and define himself more, staying right where he is, and hopefully stay there for at least another 5 years or so.
Ice?
Yeah, he makes a lot of money for that university if he takes the time, right? He's an icon across sports, but he's dang sure an icon in Atlanta, right? You have all kind of people and they be having HBCU bands playing at halftime. I mean, it was be all kind of stuff. And it would be perfect for Georgia Tech. But I think I would like, as it was stated earlier, I'd like to see him kind of prove himself a little bit more at Jackson State. Jackson State right now, I think he's 4-0. And they look like a very superior team on that level. And I like to see him do that. And if you do that, then it's time to move on. Okay, cool, Deon. But, you know, stay with the roots, bro. You kind of set the foundation, run the table, whatever you're going to do. Maybe play, you know, let's get your HBC a little bit more love for a season or two, get some more people in there. And then you just say, okay, now this is what you can do if you decide to do it. But I think he wants to prove to the world that on that level, you can have great football players that come play for great coaches, get the right coaches, and then go to the next level and do well. Very, if not dominate, do very well. To kind of go back to the true pipeline when they wouldn't let the African-American players in the first place. So you had to have the Walter Paytons come in, go to Jackson State. You know, you had to have the guys like, you know, Ernie the Cadillac and, Night Train Lane, guys that went to African HBCUs back in the day because they had no other choice.
Yeah, there's one game that I'm going to watch just for the pure enjoyment to see USC beat the snot out of Arizona State, which segues into my next story with Herm Edwards, the staff sabotaging him and giving the opponents information on the team. And I know Black and I, we talked about this before the show, man. I feel like they should investigate whoever leaked this information out, whoever wanted to get him fired and sabotaging him on the staff. And they need to be fired too. And they need to be blackballed from college athletics.
No, I agree with the balling part of it, bro, because you still got a job to do, man. And that's just low, bro. That's lower than low. It really is. And I think I said last week where Herm should have probably seen it right on the wall, kind of removed himself. He's kind of like that old school, I'm gonna stick it out. And I know the first season when he did well, but for the nature of Herm Edwards, who I believe him to be, he was in over his head, bro. Let's be honest, man. College sports, to a degree, is a cesspool. And you got to learn to navigate that cesspool. And you can't go in there and basically try to do things on your own. And to me, ironically, what they were kind of, if I'm correct, what they were looking at, what I guess he trained or did something during the pandemic when nothing was going on, compared to what goes on in college football, that's pretty light, bro.
Yeah, that's really
light. That is ultimately light. So I'm like, why make a big deal of that? I mean, take a slap on the wrist. But when I read most of his staff abandon him in the offseason, bro, I mean, you got to kind of see, when the lights start to get dim and you don't have any candles to burn, it's too dark. You may want to move someplace where it's better light, bro. In the offseason, to me, this is where sometimes I think we do things a little different. They're coming for you. It was no secret. Last season, we knew it's coming for you. Everybody starts to jump ship. Don't stand there and hold your flag up, bro. He should have came out and came to television immediately. He could have got a job in the television, let that happen, whatever take place, let us go under. But him standing there and staring on, I'm Herm Edwards. I'm gonna do things right. Blah 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 blah. What happened to him is not fair. It's not right. But again, when you in a pool with alligators and everything else, don't be surprised you get bit by the people that you think that shouldn't bite you.
Yeah. Ice.
Yeah, it was tough to watch because I think overall Herm Edwards is a good dude. I mean, he's kind of dude you want to see survive and do well because particularly when he represents us, right? He's just kind of old school football coach, but Black Thor hit it on the head when you mentioned about, this is a different brand of football. And I think what you have to do when you're putting your staff together, you have to have young people on your staff. You have to have younger people that understand the way football goes, the whole recruiting process. You can still be the head guy, but you got to have guys. That's what I always said now that even in basketball, you got to have some damn great assistant coaches, man. You got people that want to be there and want to, got your back because he's the figurehead. But with this, I bet you don't even know what the hell NIL stand for, man. I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have people that are up to date on it, and you gotta have people that are loyal. And unfortunately for him, I don't think that it came out that way. And should people be fired for all that? Yeah, but they ain't gonna. Come on, man. They ain't. I would be very surprised to see a true investigation. They fired that man coming off the last damn game. You think they're gonna go in and go, oh, it's such a travesty. We were such and such. The president's gonna be like, man, that gone. You give him a severance package, make sure he's good, all his benefits he needs. If he needs some extra benefits, give him that, give him a little some extra days that we're gonna pay for. Whatever we do, get his ass out of here because we need to move on. So I seriously doubt if they're gonna spend more money on another investigation as to why the hell they sabotaged him being fired. They like, good riddance, you done. Unfortunately, hit the road, Jack, here's your check. Peace.
I wonder if he has enough grounds to sue. I really do. I mean, this is just wrong. This is just wrong.
It's wrong, but let's be real.
Though? I mean, what he's suing on what?
That they did him wrong? Somebody lied?
They
discrimination, something. Just come up with something.
Let me get this straight. Let's say they were playing Oklahoma on a Saturday, right? Oklahoma coaches took his assistant coaches out to the bar on Friday. Hey, what type of play y'all going on? You know what I mean? You sort of know what? I mean, realistically, is it bad? Yes, but there's no grounds, bro. Like I said, you investigating what? You gonna spend money to go people to ask questions? Do what? They didn't. No rules are basically broken. No laws are breaking. It's hurt feelings, bro. That's all it is. It's all it is, man. I mean, and at this point, they fired, but it doesn't matter. You're right about what how they treated the players, but guess what? We know NCAA, these coaches don't care about the players in the first place. So it's one of those things you can get pissed at it. Go have a drink and forget about it, bro. Because that's what they want to do.
Because where have you heard of a company that investigates a firing of somebody they want to get rid of? If it ain't, I'm just saying, if it's not no assault, if it ain't nothing else like that, if somebody got badgered or something, you'll be like, well, he feels like he was, wrongly, dismissed. Okay, yeah. Look, guess what? We're gonna notate that in your file. But you think they're gonna make an investigation? They don't do that, bro.
This just wrong all over. But
it is.
But the next story really bothered me the most about Penny Hardaway, man. And he's avoiding all these penalties. But Memphis, I think they have a 3-year probation period. They got to pay a fine of $5,000. And Penny comes out of it unscathed. And all this was due to the investigation from the recruitment ICE of James Wiseman. I thought it was almost like the NCAA had it in for Penny for getting Wiseman, because I thought that Memphis team was going to be dynamic with all of the guys they got from AAU, and Penny had him, and he has a pipeline from AAU. And it just seems like any way the NCAA can interfere with Penny's program, they will do it.
Yeah, I can see that, but let's be real. And I watched Memphis last year. I watched them almost beat Gonzaga, right? And I don't know too much about them. I watched enough about them. Penny, bro, you gotta get some better assistance, bro. I mean, the pipeline is coming in, but you got to get better assistance, bro. You got to do that. And far as the far as all of the hype about all of the charges and him being cleared, I'm glad he was cleared. But man, come on. You know, when I first heard, I was listening to this, I was like, man, it smells fishy and they gonna catch him. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it's fine. Long as you waited so much time because you know he was more or less just like a kind of like a booster to Memphis. Yeah. So he'd help kids in high school, whatever. And they said, well, as long as you clear with everybody and everybody's on the same page, you good. As soon as he get to Memphis, he go, now you know I basically paid Wiseman's rent for a year or whatever it was. And they went all deep into it. Oh, you're fine because you're Penny Hardaway. Man, they couldn't wait to go after that brother. They was waiting in the NCAA coming down. But see, with this NIL and all this stuff coming up, you had to have a bunch of stuff to really say, you know, he was doing it. Because you do that, like I keep telling y'all, it's kind of like these organizations, like that whole Deshaun Watson stuff. We got to clear this shit up because we start going to the other places, Duke. Anyway, allegedly, they still ain't got. They still know that Zion shit won. They got lucky because the people that was supposed to be representing Zion that told us stuff wasn't smart enough to get a damn license in the state of North Carolina. So you can't represent him, dumbasses. Anyway, you didn't hear me say that allegedly, but I'm just saying, man, you blew that yourself. So I think they had to tighten up because this could be of a wider problem. Yeah. And Penny Hardaway is a face. So now it's like, we penalized you, but we didn't kick you out. So you got 3 years probation to try to get it together and see if you can work it out. So we got you, but we didn't destroy you. And Penny like, well, to me, I don't want to see it like this, but Penny, you got time now to work on your game, bro. Work on your coaching stuff, bro.
If I was Penny Black, I'd do like some of those other coaches and pull up and go somewhere else. Because I'm not going to be penalized for something that, you know, really wasn't wrong in what he was doing, actually.
And I agree with you. I said that about Herm a little while ago, but you got to know when to kind of lead the party. But here's a little difference with Penny's situation. I mean, if he's really into being at Memphis and being there for the kids, if he is, then you got to do what you got to do. You got to kind of hang out. Now, he can become selfish and go, you know what, I'm out of here. And to me, that would be the question for him. What do you really want to do? Because him being found innocent, realistically, if his goal is to basically help these young men, bro, you're going to attract more young men to you. So that's what he has to determine where he wants to go. I mean, in a sense where, okay, am I going to make it about me, go to a bigger school, bigger place, maybe try to go to the NBA, whatever, or am I going to really kind of basically have a goal that I'm trying to accomplish here with young black men? Because the majority of men I'm sure he's going to pull in are going to be black. Is he going to stick that through or go either way? So that, to me, that's the question mark I see for him. I'm hoping that he kind of hangs there because, he needs to be there. And he has a basic connection to these young gentlemen. So for me, if he can stay there and ride it through, I'll be happy with that. If he chooses to go, I understand it. Because like you said, at this point, like they do it all the time, bro. When they see something coming down the pike, they take off, they will get a job somewhere else, making more money. So if he wants to, I won't be mad at him. But at the same time, I hope he basically stays true to what he probably initially was thinking and the reason for taking that job in the first place.
Herm Edwards, go talk to Kevin Ollie. He just got a settlement of $3.9 million from UConn. Actually, back pay, he's going to get $11.1 million added on to that. And I'm so glad he's getting his money. And we just talked about 3 coaches, 3 black coaches in collegiate sports who are having all these problems. Black, I know this story has been like, nobody's really been talking about Kevin Ollie because he was one of the coaches that the NBA was looking at bringing in to coach. And then all of a sudden, when this came out, he filed a discrimination suit against UConn. And it just kind of you don't hear about Kevin Ollie, you don't hear about this case. What's happening up in Connecticut with this case, man?
Well, I'm glad you said they're going to give him back pay $11 million because that $3.9 million that he got awarded, to me, is a slap in the face. I know he was due like 9 and 10. But I said this, if you go back and check our shows, the archives a couple of years ago, I said this back then. Kevin Ollie kind of got loyal to UConn. He went there, and we know he spent time in the NBA playing, assistant coach. Kevin Ollie could have left prior to this. Again, when this was coming down the wall, he could have went and been an NBA coach, man, and avoided all this. The $11 million he's going to get, he would have made much more than that this time. They were basically calling. but he wanted to be true to a school. Let's be honest, man. I don't care what color you are, and realistic, but you know how it is for us. These colleges, when it comes down to this big business, they don't care about you. And he became loyal to a school that he went to. It's nice to come back to the alumni and give money or whatever, but at the end of the day, bro, they don't care about you. And it took him 3 to 4 years to get this. And if they try to appeal, it might even take longer. You know how much money he lost by not going to the NBA?
Right.
I mean, honestly, bro, fighting them. And let's go right now. Let's just think about it right now. Does he have an avenue to the NBA? No, he doesn't.
Right now, no.
He doesn't. He really, I mean, that lane has closed. So I saw this happen about a week or two ago. I'm like, okay, good, but not so good, because here again, we got to stop. Sometimes we fight when there is no fight. There's no fight, bro. Sometimes we want to throw punches like, bro, you want to fight them. It took you 2 to 3 years to get this money. And I'm not knocking that, but you could have made 4, 5, 6 times more than that if you would have realized before they didn't care about you a long time ago. They didn't. I mean, they didn't. You stayed there and played and coached and, man, losing seasons. And when you knew they was coming after you. So it's like this, stop this loyalty to people that don't want to be loyal to you. That's not loyal to you. And that's just my interpretation of it. I mean, that might have got too deep, but I'm glad he got awarded that, because the 3.9, if he's getting 11 back pay, I'm happy with that. But the 3.9, when you're shooting for 9 million, bro, I'm not saying 3.9 is chump change, but come on, man. To UConn University, 3.9 million is not that much.
Yeah, not that much. No,
it's not that much. Here again, the money he lost out on trying to be loyal, bro, come on. I remember the year that he won the championship. That's when he should have took off. Jim Calhoun was in the audience that night, pissed off that UConn won. And truth be told, I think Jim Calhoun wanted to come back and take over. He won that championship. I would have been around UConn would have brought him back and kicked him out of the way.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen too. I really did. Yeah. But
how long ago have they won? UConn won that championship with him?
Right. Ice, your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've always watched this from afar, and then I kind of got into it. And I'm like, I read the so-called charges, the reason why they were dismissing them and whatnot. And it's like when everything started hitting the fan with all these allegations and whatnot. I was watching it. I said, man, the school is just dumping on this, bro. I mean, it's like, they're just dumping. I'm like, if fire him for losing, okay? I don't have a problem with that. You think you have a losing season. He did win the national championship. But if you want to fire him for that, but they start making those allegations that he was doing this, he was doing that. And I'm like, well, damn, now they came out with some information allegedly that, hell, Jim Calhoun wasn't the cleanest month. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the cleanest dude either. And they wasn't really, even when he left, when they just raked him over the coals and threw him away. Yeah. They just kind of let him slide out the way. Well, we got a new guy that's going to take over in the same tradition of Calhoun, who's kind of lost his way for a minute, but he's still welcome back to the alumni dinners and all that. But they just pissed all over Kevin Ollie, man. So for him to get his money, I think he deserved it. Really sad about potential for the future. I say that too, but I always say sometimes you just gotta wait, and unfortunately it's messed up. You get to see what's really going on. I always look back at the time, everybody, the people that hated on the UNLV running Rebels with Jerry Tarkanian, they used to always say Tarkanian had boosters and they was in the hot tub. He knew about everything. And at the end of the day, I love that documentary. The last part of the documentary showed the check that the NCAA had to pay Tarkanian.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? So we're now finding out with NIL what the hell is going on with the NCAA and how them and some of the schools can be really shady when it comes to business transactions.
All right, Black, I'm gonna go to you with this next story. The NFL finally is going to do something that I've been screaming about for years about the Pro Bowl, but they also did something that I did not put in the topics list that you thought the halftime show last year was great. They pulled Rihanna for this one. Oh, you dirty NFL, you dirty. You're dirty. But let's talk about the Pro Bowl. They got skills competition. They got a flag football game. They'll probably have a banquet or whatever, because I don't know the last time, Black, that I watched the Pro Bowl. I mean, it's like a joke to me.
I think realistically, man, the Pro Bowl has been a highly rated football game. I'm with you. I don't watch, I don't pay attention. but it's highly rated. But I think by the nature of the game itself, it's best to go to flag football and do that. And it should be a weekend where fans can come in. I know for a while I was out in the country, I was in Hawaii for a while, then they brought it to the States and went back and forth. Put it somewhere, and you can move it every year if we like the Super Bowl. You can move it. Put it somewhere where fans can come in, enjoy the weekend with their players, bro. With their players that they know, that they love, come in. They can have a chance to kind of relate with them a little bit, have seminars, all that type of stuff, and do a flag football for fun. For fun. And don't care about the ratings on television. Just make it a weekend of fun, which is going to be a more weekend of more money for the town and for the NFL when you think about it. So I think they got it right with this, bro. I think they got it right. And I don't know. When I heard about Rihanna, I'm like, okay, will the ratings go up? Hell yeah. Just when you think you know the NFL,
you said Dr. Dre, Eminem, give me Rihanna,
bro. Because let's face it, and don't get me wrong, Rihanna is talent as far as a singing artist. You whatever you want to say. But I remember years ago, bro. I'll be honest. I'm just because I'm gonna get this out. Get out after I say this. I remember years ago before I knew Rihanna. I knew who she was. I know her music. But I used to get the New York newspaper, like the New York Times, and if somebody left a paper beside with New York Daily, the New York Post, bro, she would be in there every single. I'm like, who is this black woman? Oh, Rihanna. Every day they would have pictures of her for whatever reason, getting out of a car, getting out of a cab, coming out of a building. You'd be like, and then I figured it out. So really, I'm surprised it took this long to get the halftime show. It took this long because I'm serious. American men of all races, all diversity, all colors, love that woman, bro. Let's be honest. It's just something about her. It is what it is, bro. I don't care if she just standing holding the microphone. It's gonna be one of the best halftime shows ever.
She's an island girl, so.
Lemonade, baby, lemonade. Lemonade. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna wait to hold off of that because I get my thoughts together about Rihanna. Anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all. But when it comes to the Pro Bowl, I'm not gonna say I told you so. But remember we talking about that? I said they might as well play flag football. Y'all like guess what they doing? The only thing I think they should do differently though a little bit because it's about the fans. I want to see this, and I ain't saying you got to go out and do it all the way, but have a little flag football team or whoever, and then throw a couple old vets in there, bro.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So let me see some of the older. Let me see Jerry Weiss catching a touchdown from somebody or some receiver, whoever catching it from a newer guy or somebody, whoever that can still run or move a little bit in there and just make it fun, man. I think I would watch that. I would watch some of the old dudes. I'm like, that was such and such and such. You remember back in the day, such and such to a pass to his favorite receiver? Just something fun. It's flag football, bro. It's something everybody can play. So why not amp it up? They're supposed to have some skill competitions and seminars and stuff. Like you said, I would watch flag football. It's like the celebrity home run derby. It's stupid as hell, but I watch it just to see, is he any good or anybody? He still got it. And nobody gets hurt. That's the other thing. When you play football, they always try to act like it's a serious game. Dude, it ain't serious. That's why I said play some damn flag football. You ain't tackling them anyway. Let's have some fun. Oh, he made a juke move. Let Michael Vick gonna score about 49 touchdowns in the game. Can't nobody catch him still. He is so sick in it in flag football that I think it would be great. So I hope they do that. Bring back some of the old alumni because everybody want to see the old school guys from the Hall of Fame. Guys who still can run a little 7-on-7, I think that would be great. Now to Rihanna. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I'm going to let y'all figure that out. Last year, we were talking about the Super Bowl. We were talking about the halftime show. And somebody said, I ain't watching none of that bull stuff, blah, blah, blah. And when I said, they going to do something that's going to make your watch. And guess what they did? Wow! Everybody's like, oh my God, Mary J, blah, blah, blah. And I asked a person, I said, are you gonna watch? Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I said, what'd you say? I hear you. You mumbling, let me hear you. So I know now, like I said before, y'all, all I'm gonna say is, I was blessed to see you. I saw Rihanna in person one time. Blessed. So I know what Black Thor talks about. I seen it in the physical presence. So I
There
know
was
this
no picture in the New York Times.
No, it wasn't no picture, baby. It was in a cabana. Anyway, that's for another day. But so in Miami, but like I said, with Jay-Z, and remember everybody's dogging Jay-Z and whatever. And I said, yeah, I told you. I said, but dude ain't stupid and he working the money. You may not like him, but they knew when they wanted to change this thing around and get you off of that kneeling and all that other stuff. You ain't even thought about no damn kneeling since that last show. And you ain't gonna nothing. You damn sure ain't gonna be thinking about no kneeling at halftime when Rihanna coming. If you kneeling, you gonna be kneeling down and giving her honor. You know what I'm saying? For being Rihanna. That's the only kneeling we gonna be doing, baby. I'm just keeping it real. They know what the hell they doing. They got you. You can say, I ain't watching football. I'm boycotting. I ain't mad at that. But you ain't boycotting that damn halftime show. I know that.
Let me just say this real quick, man. I'm gonna say this. Nobody else said it. As men, we ain't shit. I'm gonna say that first.
Hey, they know that. But they know that. The Shield knows that. They know it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Think about Mary J. Blige and them outfits she had on at halftime. Man, come on, bro.
Rumor had it a week ago, if I remember correctly. They was gonna put Taylor Swift on.
Right. They're like, no.
Who? No. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Get out of here, man.
Hey, Rihanna to that point where dudes like, they used to tell her, "Wow, she's gonna do for the Super Bowl, baby. I'm gonna stay home and watch it." They ain't staying home this year, baby. They got to be with the fellas. You got to get some yak or some drinks, and got to get your cigars, whatever you do, and just be like, "Dude, I need about 15 minutes." Where you going? I'm going to the store. I'll be right back. 15 minutes later. You forgot the orange juice? Did you forget every damn thing? 15 minutes, baby.
NFL, y'all some sneaky mofos. Every year, y'all some sneaky mofos. Oh man, the one thing I do like, adding the fun to the Pro Bowl, is it's a week before the Super Bowl, so it gives you a week. You know, something that you can kind of, because that 2 week span for Super Bowl with all that hype and stuff, I don't pay attention to that, but I will pay attention to the Pro Bowl. Let's go to the Major League Baseball report with Icewater.
Man, my sponsors, they taking out the week this week, so we don't have no chicken, nothing like that. Just gonna
wings?
No, not this week.
Oh man,
I got some wings, man. I always have wings, but I ain't gonna do that to y'all. Y'all look, hey. You saw I gotta let you have a little time off.
All right.
Maybe next week. Anyway, AL East is getting tight. I think about 8 more games left in the season. Things are getting real tight. 162, is that right, sir?
Yeah. The Yankees, they clinched yesterday. I was telling Black before the show, he was like, "Why are you always on Aaron Judge? Why are you always on Aaron Judge?" And I said, when it's time to perform in the playoffs, I want to see what he does, because he has not really kind of pulled through in the playoffs. So the regular season's fine, got the clinched and everything. I want to see when the pressure's on. The pressure's on now for him to hit 61.
Yeah, but I ain't really worried about 61 because I think it's all hyped anyway. I mean, it's like they choose the number they want to, depending on what the news is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be 72. Well, what about McGuire and all them? I mean, they pick and choose what they want. 61 now because of Roger Maris, right? But a lot of people with the steroid era had done a lot more than that. But it's a slow situation in baseball right now, so they're gonna pick it up. So as we get close to the final standings, the final regular season games, let's run through the standings real quick. AL East, the Yankees lead Toronto by 8.5 games. In AL Central, Cleveland is up on the White Sox by 10 games. In the AL West, Houston is just blowing the doors off of Seattle. They're up by 18 games. In the NL East, we have a tie for first place with Atlanta and the Mets tied at 97-58 for first place. It's going to be interesting there. In the NL Central, St. Louis is up by 7.5 on Milwaukee. In the NL West, Dodgers being the Dodgers and all that money, they're up by 20 on San Diego. But what I find interesting very quickly, if we were to look at the wild card situation. You'll like this, D. Here's the thing coming up. And if we were to start the playoffs today in the wild card, you in the AL, you would have Cleveland versus Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the winner would eventually move forward to play the Yankees. And then also you have in the American League, you'd have Tampa Bay versus Toronto in the that wild card series. And the winner there would play the number 2 seed, which would be Houston. But in the NL, you would have Philadelphia facing St. Louis for the right to play the number 2 seed, the Mets. And then this is the one I know you will love. Atlanta in the wild card will play San Diego, will make the playoffs.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
They would make the playoffs, even though they're 20 games back. They would make the playoffs, and the winner will play the Dodgers.
Wow.
Well, yeah, when I looked at it, I was like, is that right? I looked again, I was like, man, baseball is that bad right now? But to have just San Diego represented like that with the potential, even this late, despite their record and losing Tatis, anything is possible.
Yeah, I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs after they lost Tatis for 80 games. So that should be interesting. I mean, because you wipe the slate clean, it's a brand new season, and you never know what happens. You never know what happens. All right, Black, give me your first question, bro.
You know, I posed this to you earlier, man, so I'm going to run with it again for the show because I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. 3 weeks into the season, this cat is balling. He's proven that he basically has worked on his game every offseason. And if we're correct, they basically came with a contract beginning of the season that was in merit of the guaranteed type of money he's looking for. So I know Ed Reed came out recently and said that he should be careful, try not to get hurt, because if he gets hurt, he's not going to make the money he's looking for. To me, Lamar Jackson, to me, you're like a revolutionary type of player. I'm not saying there hasn't been a player come before you that ran or whatever, but you need to do something to get your money, bro. And I would suggest basically hold a press conference after this Monday. You're probably going to win this week. Hold a press conference. Say, you know what? I'm going to pull myself out the rest of the season because the team doesn't evaluate. They don't analyze me correctly. They don't want to pay me correctly. Until they want to come to the table with a fair deal, I'm not going to play. And put them in a situation where, you know, let them start the backup quarterback for a week or two and see what can happen. Because therefore, I think he's got to push them to the table to pay him with the money he wants. I know it'll be something that some people may not like, but sometimes in business, it's got to get ugly. So my question is, should Lamar basically pull himself off the field? Because he's proven he deserves the cash. Should he pull himself off the field to get the contract he desires?
Ice?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's about proving what you can do. He's continuing to prove that despite them not making solid decisions at wide receiver, drafting 19 tight ends, he's still showing you that he's that dog. He can run for 74 yards. So my thing is you just keep putting gasoline on the fire. And then after, when it comes down to it, you make them come to the table, despite what happens after the year season or whatever. That's how you make it work, and they're going to see it. There's nothing you can say about it. Right now, you didn't do nothing but hurt him, and he's a competitor. He want to win. If they got a chance of moving forward in the playoffs, he don't want to blow it. So he's building some chemistry with a lot of other guys on that team, even though they lost, you know, one game or here and now there. But I don't think he's too much of a competitor to do it right now, because if that was the case, he could have done that before the season.
Yeah, I was thinking that he probably could have done that before the season, and but it would be a great time to do this, because I'm going to give you my pick with the Buffalo-Baltimore game. I think Baltimore's going to win that game, and I think he's going to show out. So this would have been, if he would have done it in the beginning of the season, where they're like, oh, we're playing Buffalo and we got our second string quarterback, I think they would have probably made a deal a la Emmitt Smith we talked about earlier when he sat out for the Cowboys and the Cowboys got him in. But I think by the 8th game, they're going to have to come to him, because the price is going up on him. He's leading the league in all kinds of categories. The price is going up. And if they don't jump on it real soon and give him some guarantees, then they're going to eventually lose him. They're going to eventually lose him. But right now, I don't think, I don't know if it would benefit him to kind of say, after, you know, I've done this, I proved myself, I'm going to sit out the rest of the season until we can get that contract situation rectified. I don't know if it'll I don't know. I don't know if he would benefit from that, to be honest with you. Black?
I understand it's unorthodox. I totally get it. And I understand where it would benefit him? I think it would. Here's the reason why. Because you're proving to them, basically, you prove to the league itself that you're worth more than what they're offering you. Now, you put them in a situation where either you're going to pay me my money now or play the season out and probably not make the playoffs. There's your option. Because what they're going to probably end up doing at the end of the season, they're going to franchise him for 2 years. And they're paying him top dollar. But if he gets, and even if they franchise him for 2 years, here's another thing to consider. That's not guaranteed money. Let's say in the first year of the franchise, he gets hurt. The next year he comes back, his value is decreased, bro. So my point is, if you're thinking long-term and you want the guarantee, you got to hit him where it hurts. Because how many times the ownership of a team hits the player where it's hurt? Again, you got to step outside the box and make it happen. And to me, right now, he's hot. Lamar Jackson is hot. Hey, they're talking about a potential MVP. I know it's early. What a better time to put their feet to the fire. Make them scared, make them think. Even if you did it on Monday, let's say he came back next Monday after he beat the Bills, and you say that, like I said to you earlier, his agent phone will be ringing off the hook by Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be sure by Thursday the deal will be done. And you may not have to even miss the field. You may not have to. But what is getting him right now to move closer? And you're right, he's going to make more money. But let's just say he gets hurt. It's a long season, man. It's what, another 14 games to be played? Let's say week 8, he gets hurt, he don't play the rest of the year. What is going to be the leverage at the end of the year, bro, to sign you to a new deal? Better than the one that they offered to begin this year.
He doesn't have an agent. He's his own agent. So
but then you're right. At that point, there it is, brother. His phone be ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I mean, to me, if you got this for, and it's like, it's almost, and I remember someone said this, I tell you who said this, I remember exactly who said this. Tony Gonzalez said this the last week of preseason. Lamar, if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, Tony, I'm sorry, I apologize for saying your name and putting you and connecting you with this. But he said, Tony, he said he should not step on the field week 1.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
He should not step on the field.
I would have understood if he did that. Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, this is even better. This is it, bro. You don't give them 3 wins. You know the ownership Superman's going, yeah, we're going to the playoffs, we're going to the big. No, you're not with me. Unless you really bring up this. I'm just saying this. Here it is, unconventional, unorthodox, but sometime in business, you got to do something to get it done. Forget wait to the offseason and think they're going to just say yes. Well, no, bro. You know, they did that for Joe Flacco, and they regret it. They may not admit it. Let's be honest, they regret it, giving Joe Flacco all that money. They got nothing after that. So they're afraid that Lamar's going to get hurt. Guess what? Get your guarantee money right now, bro. Forget the franchise, because you know, in my opinion, that's what's going to happen. Get your money now. Get your money. What's the old saying? I want my millions right now. I want my money right now. Get your money now, bro.
I want my daddy's records.
There it is.
Ice, what's your question, man?
My question is, do you think there's buyer's remorse in Denver with Russell Wilson?
Black?
I think so. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think, I'm going to say this, man. I like Russ to an extent. I do like Russ. I think Russ has taken a lot of shots, but I'm going to say what Richard said about him, the cornerback. He did not win that first Super Bowl. And sometimes we treat him like he did. We just act like Russ was just this great thing. And I think he has a coach. He's a new head coach that doesn't respect him, doesn't know how to use him. And he's in a worse situation than he was when he was in Seattle, in my opinion. You have good receivers in Seattle. You have a good running game. You have a good offensive line. But Russ, the city, the state, they love you. Bro, you got some guaranteed money here, but guess what? If this coach has no clue what he's doing, he's going to prove that to you already. So if you don't get a good coach, a good offensive coordinator, your talents are going to go to waste. And second thought, look at the vision you're playing in. Look at the vision you're in for the next, 5 years? It ain't going to be long. Just my opinion. I'm going to get off on this.
Yeah, I want to let the paint dry before I make that conclusion.
Ain't going to be long, man. Your wife ain't going to be happy in Denver, bro.
Yeah, I want to let the paint dry on this.
It's a long way from
I don't think it's actually Russ. I think it's the coach. I think it's the coach and the new system. I think it's the coach.
Who's calling the plays?
Yeah, but I want to let the paint dry on this one before I make the conclusion that it's buyer's remorse, because Russ is special. Russ is special. If you have a good coach, you don't got a good team around him, just like, any other marquee player, you're not going to go do too
Let
well.
me ask you a question.
That coach really showed me that he really doesn't know what he's doing in that first game.
It's no reflection on Russ, but when the last time he's been special?
Russ is always
No.
special. That's the fantasy football players.
When the last time on the NFL field, Russ has been special?
And ever since I've been watching Rush, you cannot count him out playing quarterback in the fourth quarter. That's just me watching.
Especially the last 2 years when he kind of basically went away the last 2 seasons in Seattle.
I think that was because Seattle didn't have a line. And, I think I think when he decided that he wanted to go somewhere else, I think that's when the relationship soured in Seattle.
You keep making excuses for it, bro. I'm being honest with you. You keep making excuses. That's what I'm saying is because.
Well, I love one brother in Russ. I don't like the coach at Notre Dame. So
I'm just saying, no, it's two separate arguments. What I'm saying is that you're living off what you like for Russ. But if you look at what he's been doing on the field for the last 2 to 3 years, so all I'm saying, if you look at what he's been doing on the field for the last 2 to 3 years, it hasn't been magical, bro. Now you're in a situation, and I granted, I'm not saying his talent is gone, but he's in a worse situation now than the one that he left.
Yeah, because that line is sad.
Yes. You're in a situation, you're a bonehead coach that don't know how to utilize you, that don't respect you, want to utilize you. Bro, and you signed there for guaranteed money.
Yeah. Ice, buyer's remorse?
Nah, they want to say just yet, but see, you got to give them a little time because they really haven't done anything in regards to the players, particularly on the offensive side, to getting going. Right, you got to bring in some cats, even if some veterans that can catch the rock. And if you have a coach that's not calling great plays, he can only do so much. I mean, hell, he was limited in Seattle. A lot of people are like, whatever, but Lockett at times was hurt. Metcalf hurt at times. You never knew what the hell was going at the running back. It was either one or the other or somebody. They ran about 9 running backs through there one time, and he had to be mad. And when he says, I heard that word magical. I mean, when you say magical is like winning Super Bowls. Magical is like doing special things. Considering to me what he had on that field, I'm not gonna say it was magical, but that shit was impressive because I was like, how the hell you winning with them dudes? I mean, you go back and you look at his numbers, man, at times he was like on spot. And you're like, how the hell you doing this? You got a tight end here and there. So I wouldn't say magical. He ain't been magical in a while, but he damn sure been getting it done. I mean, there's a difference between magical, because you're like, hell, is Tom Brady magical? I'm just saying. I mean, ain't too many magical motherfuckers right now. I mean, Lamar Jackson, is magical. Mahomes was magical for a minute. He done fell off a little bit. Ain't too many magical motherfuckers. So are they worthy? Are they solid? Yeah. Steady maybe, or kind of a little lost something. But when he said magical, I said, ain't a lot of magical running in the NFL, right?
Look at Charles. Black last second shot.
Woo! To me, we just talked about Rihanna coming to be the halftime Super Bowl. Man,
that's gonna be mine.
Bro, I'm just gonna say this about the NFL, bro. They got some geniuses working at Madison Avenue, man. They got some geniuses. Because whenever you're ready to count them out, they find a way. They take your mind away. It's so funny. I'm looking at the first game they had on the NFL, had on prime time, right? I mean, Amazon Prime. You see Roger Goodell sitting up there, owner of Amazon. And Roger Goodell looked like he don't even want to be there, but the man is yakking his ear, he don't want to be there. But then the ratings, then the game, everybody, the next day, people come out and complain they can find the game. And then they came out and said, basically, that it was a smash.
Yeah, the ratings were
smash. Bro. Smash.
It's like them fire sticks and watch them games on Amazon because everybody else is.
Smash. And then come this Sunday, think about this, and I love this. I don't care what has happened. For me to wake up and watch football on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, 9:30, bro. Yeah, that's my final minute right there. There it is, bro. NFL. Oh!
Yeah, I'm glad the camera only got here because I could have swore your nipples got hard. Football.
Lemonade.
Icewater, your last second shot, man.
That's hard to follow right there, man. That's hard to follow, but I got to put out something. I got something to douse that down. I'm gonna throw some really some really dirt on the situation. My last second shot is about Ben Simmons. Okay, Ben Simmons. I watched him on the JJ Redick podcast, and I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what kind of season he's gonna have. But the one thing I will say, and I watched it, I was glad for him. Nothing else or whatever he's done. They literally had a heart-to-heart talk to him about what was going on. And you talk about if he is having mental issues or whatever, but he was able to literally talk about a lot of the stuff and being candid or honest about it. And like I said, it doesn't mean anything to anybody, but from a mental health standpoint, it was good for him to face whatever people have been saying about him forever and really just taking on, just kind of see it for what it is. Does that mean he's going to have a great season? No. Does that mean he's ever going to make up for what happened? No. And he was honest about a lot of that. But to hear him to be honest and face it, and just, even though he's probably feeling good because he's drinking a little wine, that probably helped the situation too. But to see him, from what we've been hearing and what he's been saying has been wrong with him, to see him come with that and talk about it, man, it was good. It was good for me and good for him, because like I said, it was good. I just wanted to see him in a better place. Does that mean anything better? Does it mean going to be a better player? Probably not. Anybody ever forget it? Probably not. But to see him able to face what the criticisms and whatever, even though it was in a more friendly type situation, because he knows JJ Redick well, it was good for me to watch.
Yeah. My last second shot, I was drinking when I found out that I'm watching some game, when I found out Rihanna is going to be in the halftime show. And I'll say what I said then. I don't give a damn who's in the Super Bowl. I just want Rihanna, and that's going to be my Super Bowl right there. That's it. I don't give a damn. Put the Dallas Cowboys out in the Detroit Lions. I don't give a damn. I'm watching Rihanna in the Super Bowl. That's my Super Bowl. I can't wait till February. I'm waiting for you, baby. I'm waiting for you. That's our show.